Clint Eastwood built his life and career on an ironclad sense of control. From his earliest days as an awkward contract player at Universal Studios, to his rise as one of Hollywood's most bankable stars, he carved out a reputation for independence. He was a man who refused to be molded by the system. Where other actors submitted to the demands of studios, Eastwood fought for autonomy, both on the screen and behind it. That relentless pursuit of freedom became his trademark, not only in his films but in his personal life. He married young, tying the knot with Maggie Johnson in 1953. At first glance, it seemed like the traditional choice of a man trying to ground himself in the uncertainty of Hollywood. But their union quickly morphed into what Eastwood would later describe as an open marriage. In reality, it was less an agreement than a convenient cover for his compulsive womanizing. Affairs, one-night encounters, and casual flings became his assertion of dominance, a way of proving that no one, not even marriage, could cage him. Autonomy was everything, and intimacy, for Eastwood, often meant control. Yet, beneath the surface, he was a man of contradictions. To his mother, he reserved a childlike devotion, clinging to her as a stabilizing force in his life. To nearly every other woman he encountered, he kept them at arm's length, forever compartmentalized. It was this carefully balanced system, devotion in one box, fleeting passion in another, that allowed him to live freely, unburdened by the expectations of fidelity or permanence. But in the mid-1970s, everything shifted. That was when he met Sondra Locke. An Oscar-nominated actress from Tennessee, Locke's own life had been marked by contradictions. Brilliant and ambitious, she was intellectually driven but emotionally isolated. She had entered into a platonic marriage with her childhood friend Gordon Anderson, a man who provided companionship without expectation. She was, in many ways, untethered from the typical demands of wifehood or motherhood. That made her uniquely compatible with Eastwood's brand of romance: passionate, obsessive, but free from the binds of domestic responsibility. Their connection was immediate, and for the first time, Eastwood claimed he had truly fallen in love. Together, they starred in 6 films in just 7 years, a creative and romantic partnership that blurred the lines between work and life. To prove his devotion, Eastwood even wrote a little song, half joking but also sincere, "She Made Me Monogamous." For a man who had built his reputation on restless freedom, this was a startling admission. Sondra Locke seemed to have tamed the wanderer, the vagabond spirit who had never before settled down. But beneath the passion lay a darker truth. Eastwood's need for control seeped into their relationship in ways that would haunt Locke for the rest of her life. At his urging, she twice terminated pregnancies. Later, she underwent a tubal ligation, an irreversible procedure that effectively ended her ability to have children. She agreed, believing it was a sacrifice for their love, a gesture to bind herself more fully to him. But while she gave up her chance at motherhood, Eastwood was secretly starting a new family elsewhere. With a flight attendant named Jacelyn Reeves, he fathered 2 children. Their birth certificates carried a chilling note: "Father declined." It was as if Eastwood wanted to erase his own paternity, compartmentalizing yet another corner of his life while still proclaiming to Locke that she had made him monogamous. The contradiction was staggering. He demanded loyalty and sacrifice from her, while quietly living a double life that denied even the existence of his children. The end, when it came, was as ruthless as anything Eastwood had ever orchestrated on a film set. In 1989, while Locke was away directing her own movie, she returned to find her life dismantled. Movers had packed every possession she owned into storage. The locks on their home were changed. There was no confrontation, no explanation, only the cold efficiency of a man calling cut on a scene he no longer wanted to shoot. Humiliated but unwilling to disappear, Locke fought back. She filed a Palimony lawsuit, arguing that their 14-year relationship had been a de facto marriage and deserved legal recognition. The case dragged Eastwood's private life into public scrutiny, exposing the double standards and betrayals that had long been whispered about in Hollywood. The settlement seemed to grant her justice: financial support, a home, and a directing deal at Warner Brothers worth $1.5 million over 3 years. But Locke soon learned the truth. The deal was a sham. Eastwood had secretly funded it himself, ensuring that no real studio would ever back her projects. It was less an opportunity than a trap, designed to keep her occupied while preventing her from building a real career. When she discovered the fraud, she sued again in 1995, this time not for love lost, but for professional sabotage. As the trial approached, jurors appeared overwhelmingly sympathetic to her story. The evidence suggested Eastwood had gone to extraordinary lengths to silence her, to erase her professionally just as he had erased her personally. At the last minute, a settlement was reached, preventing a full public reckoning. But even without a verdict, the damage was done. The revelations confirmed what many had long suspected: Clint Eastwood, Hollywood's stoic cowboy, had weaponized his power to destroy the woman who once believed she had tamed him. In the aftermath, Hollywood turned its back on Locke. Interviews were cancelled. Studio doors slammed shut. Retrospectives of Eastwood's career quietly erased her presence, as if the 14 years they had shared never happened. She became a ghost in her own industry, visible only in the margins of someone else's story. When she died of breast cancer in November 2018, her passing went almost unnoticed. Weeks passed before news outlets reported it. Eastwood issued no public statement, no acknowledgement of the woman he once called the love of his life. Even at the Academy Awards the following year, her name was omitted from the in memoriam reel, a glaring absence that felt like deliberate erasure. And yet, life has a way of echoing truths we try to bury. The day after her death was announced, Eastwood's new movie The Mule premiered. Its story? That of an aging man trying to make amends with a dying ex-wife. The eerie coincidence underscored a reality Eastwood could never fully control. For all his power, his discipline, and his desire to direct every chapter of his life, there remained one narrative he could not silence: Sondra Locke's. Her sacrifices, her legal victories, and her erasure form a counter-legend to Eastwood's carefully curated myth. In the end, she is the ghost he could never escape, the woman who revealed the cost of his control, and whose story lingers as the unspoken truth behind the man who built his legacy on silence.